queerphobic Facebook memes. It's been a minute since we've done a video like this. You hate homophobia, I hate homophobia. Let's jump into it. Actually, that's not true. I've had people like click on these videos and comment like, I watched for the memes. Mommy, is that a man or a woman? It's a Democrat, honey. Okay, first of all, this meme is just a straight up lie because it insinuates that queer people are just Democrats, but there are some annoying LGBTQ+ Republicans out there. Can we get a Caitlyn Jenner? Can we get that one white gay that always talks shit that was like a cheerleader or something on TikTok?
Let me tell you why I vote Republican as a gay man.
So meme wrong, meme lie. If it's insinuating that only Democrats have colored hair, may I raise you this one homophobic girl we've reacted to a lot. The list goes, and it's disappointing. The list goes straight to hell, just like us. Happy Pride Month. My pronouns are alpha male. Now, this one, I want to be satire, but I also don't, because the idea of somebody making and posting this unironically, it's kind of a slay. He has a podcast where he talks about women being in the kitchen and how men should be making 20K a month. He has 10 monthly listeners. Also the fucking laser eye lion just being followed by the lionesses. Yeah, is that a bear in the left? God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. So actually, if God is real, he definitely created Adam and Steve and Eve and me and you and every person that you possibly hate on this planet. Just if we're going off of like your Bible, your Bibble, your Sybil. Shut the fuck up. Literally everyone would have been created by that God. So God created queer people and you're upset about it? Or perhaps we don't force our religion on others and expect everybody to live under your reasoning for life. I don't know, just the most wild concept. You were born into your own autonomy, I was born into my own autonomy, and so I'll live my life how I see fit and you do so for you without crossing each other's paths. But no, that would be too difficult. You have to get onto Facebook and you have to make your memes. Go. Dating in 2022. So, have you always been a woman? You don't even know if this person's into you. You don't even know if you will ever get a kiss from this person. You don't know if you will ever get into bed with this person. Literally just meeting somebody, it's not your fucking business. I don't have to know the medical history of every single person I could match with on a fucking dating app. I don't need to know the medical history of every single person I've ever sat down and had a conversation with. It's just not your business until something happens that would make it your business. This concept to me is so wild that everybody's like, you should always tell every single person you meet immediately. Like, slow down. You don't even know if they find you attractive and even want to get to know you. Also, I like how this insinuates that the mass population of women are now trans women, which is just untrue. I feel like homophobes and transphobes and queerphobes in general like to just blow up the statistics and act like it's like 20, 30, 40% of the population, when in reality, I think the trans population is around 4 or 5% in the US. So in reality, you're creating a situation that you just want to be upset about by overblowing these statistics. That's it. And on top of that, I'm so sorry. I know this one's getting a lot out of me. Why do I keep doing that in videos recently? This also directly goes against all the transphobes that are always like, I can always tell. I always know. You can always tell. And it's just like, no, because you sit there and you have to ask, and then you also sit there and expect every single trans person to tell you the second they meet you. And I just don't understand the logic that you're sitting here on. You slowly pull the fucking Jenga pieces out, you sink and you sink and you sink. They get one day, they get a whole month. Okay, so this argument is always possibly one of the dumbest, because it just goes to show you the people that are like, we should care about the military. Like, why do these freaks, these weirdos get so much attention and time, but we should really be respecting the military? It just shows that they don't actually give a fuck about the military. May, Military Appreciation Month. And then on top of that, there's multiple days for different aspects of the military scattered throughout the year. On top of that, there's either a month or days dedicated to military family. I'm pretty sure there's like a giant list. You can look at it. You can read it. This also insinuates that there's like no queer people in the military because it's othering, it's separating. It's being like, you're either in the military or you're queer when it comes to these two parties when they in reality can overlap. There are queer veterans. There are queer active service. Do you remember that little like don't tell law that basically was like you couldn't be in the military if you were openly out, so you just don't say you're gay? Do you remember that? Maybe that's why you separate it so much, because you believe in that separation. But that's not how it is anymore, and that doesn't mean that gay people weren't serving during that time anyways. That's why it's don't ask, don't tell, which is obviously wrong, but it's the arguments just collapse on themselves when you use just the minuscule amount of logic and reasoning. But people like this just really are short on that. Hey, future Sybil popping in. There's some points I left out in the video, so I figured every once in a while I'm gonna pop in with Capri taking a nap. When it comes to Pride Month for a lot of queer people no longer even seems safe because of the rampant transphobia and homophobia that happens during it. For instance, just here in 2023, we had people losing their minds over Target's Pride section. Unfortunately, it was literally unsafe for many queer Target workers to be working at Target at that time. Imagine your country is up in arms about having a Pride section in Target, and imagine being a Target cashier that was working there at that time. You had people going in and trashing the stands. You had people going in and threatening employees, all because Target had a Pride section, which they do every year. It's just this ramp in open transphobia and homophobia. And personally, I see that in correlation with all of the anti-LGBTQ+ bills that are trying to be passed through the country right now, and some even passing. Oh, we get a month, but in that month, we unfortunately are very, very scared, a lot of us. Society is gonna be so futuristic in 2030. Society in 2030. You're sheltering straight people under the floorboards, aren't you? We're really gonna fucking mix this tragedy. Absolutely, that word doesn't even encompass this horrific, there's no words, right? You're gonna mix that into a fucking meme about straight people being oppressed in 2030, even though, once again, statistically, that is so far from the truth. The population doesn't even begin to give queer people a chance to even oppress straight people. Should say straight cis people. The opportunity doesn't even exist. You're just mad that people want to live their life. That's it. That's it. You're upset that people want their rights, that people want to be left alone and allowed to live. You want people to be eradicated, and then you turn around and you're like, oh, but it is the straight cis people being oppressed. Make it make fucking sense. Never once in my life have I ever heard of a straight person being oppressed, an unjust or excessive exercise of power. I'm sorry, at what point in history ever have queer people had so much power that they could oppress? Name it for me. And if you're gonna say, right now, that's a total bullshit lie, because there are anti-LGBTQ+ laws sweeping the nation and have been for years and years and years now. Oh no, straight people under the floorboards? Yeah, fucking right. You're just upset that people are like, hey, can you call me by my name? No! Like, that's not oppression. That's asking for basic respect. And instead of giving that respect, you say no and then say you're oppressed. Think about it. Think about it. You know what? Please don't think anymore. You might combust. I also wanted to point out that during Nazi Germany, an approximate 53,000 homosexual men were either sent to police camps or concentration camps, where many of them died under the harsh treatment and conditions. So when you make a meme like this about how in 2030 straight people will be under the floorboards, when in reality we have actual history of homosexual men going through this horrendous treatment, it's absolutely disgusting. You may have heard of the pink triangle, which is what they would wear to signify that they were homosexual men in Nazi Germany. I know a lot of people haven't heard of that before, so I figured it was worth mentioning. I've been transitioning children without their parents' consent to Christianity. This is what I mean by just an ounce of logic and the argument falls apart. First of all, you cannot transition children without parental consent. That just is not something that legally happens. Just like anything, until 18, you need parental consent. I also just wanted to point out how almost shocking it is that there are people who genuinely believe that you don't need parental consent for these things. Here's just a couple quick examples of things that have to have parental consent. Going on a field trip, taking a sex education class, getting out of class. Like, those are much more mundane things, and there are people who genuinely believe that kids can transition without parental consent. That blows my mind. And I know some people will be like, Sybil, they're memes, they're jokes. But the thing is, we could just look at these and be like, haha, that's dumb, and move on. But if we're not actually breaking down the topics, then there's no point to this video. There's no discussion. When it comes to things like this, we have to actually talk about the issues at hand and the consequences of them. Otherwise, it's just laughing at something that's actually really fucked up in our country, and not even just our country. That law didn't just go away. You know, at most, maybe their friends will call them by their name and pronouns, and that's against their parental consent, but that also doesn't even fall anywhere near medical transitioning or anything like that, so the fuck? But if we want to like talk about indoctrination and stuff like that, it's straight cis people forcing children into conversion camps. It's straight cis people that are adults passing these laws. It is straight cis people that will force their children to go to church from the moment they are born, that will literally baptize a child with no understanding of baptism. Do you not see the hypocrisy in this? Whereas queer people are like, hey, I want to be seen as who I am, I want to be accepted, I want to be loved. That's not forcing somebody to be queer. That's somebody being queer and wanting to be appreciated and respected like any other human being in this fucking world. But yeah, sure. Mommy, I think I'm a boy. Well, you're not. We need more parents like this. Or maybe we need more parents that are understanding, accepting, and loving of their children, so that way we don't have to deal with the increased suicide rates that we currently deal with when it comes to queer children, or suicide idolization, or bullying. And it's not because they're queer, it's because they're not given access to safe treatment. And by that, I mean like safe households, safe schools. The states that are trying to pass, or I believe some have already passed, that teachers will have to out children to their parents, which, do you know why some people don't come out? Because of abuse, because of being kicked out of their homes. Did you know that almost 50% of homeless youth is LGBTQ+ because of situations like that? But sure, yeah, let's just tell kids to force their feelings deep down and never speak on it, and then grow up hating themselves. Yeah, is that really the better option in your mind? I don't think so. I just don't think so. If you have a truck with balls hanging from it and your truck wasn't born with balls and you put the balls on an elective process, you have a trans truck. Congratulations. I'm including this one just to show what kind of Facebook humor dads have. They're like, God, queer people are showing our children disgusting things, and then they're hanging like literal nutsacks off their trucks in public places to expose children to like fake genitalia. So it's just like, if you really are this person that's like, oh my god, it's the children, and then you're going and doing shit like this, do you not see the hypocrisy sitting right there? But you want to turn around and be like, it's the queer people. It reminds me of like parents that put their like little boys in ladies' man shirts and stuff like that, and it's like, are you sure? Are you sure that queer people are the ones that are like forcing people to be one way? Are we positive about that? I want to be so clear right now, I don't actually think the balls on truck thing is that deep. I don't actually really care about people who decide to do those kind of truck modifications, like, go for it. I just wanted to point out the hypocrisy and how there's so many people that are like, the children, and then those same people are the kind of people who do this and then make a meme about it. But no, I don't actually think putting balls on your truck is that deep. I don't think Kappert does either. Honestly, she looks like she doesn't even know where she is right now. This last one is not queerphobic. I just had to show you guys. This is just solely coming in absolutely terrified. Alright guys, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you want any of my socials, down in the description. If you liked the video, liked it. If you really liked it, consider subscribing. And with that being said, I will see you guys soon. Bye.